What's up, guys? We are back with Week 11 NFL Sunday action. Let's dive in and break down all of these games and find the value out there in an action-packed Sunday. If you want to win all of your bets this weekend, hit that like button. It's good luck and shows support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NFL, college football, NBA, NCAA basketball, NHL, and the UFC. This is one of the best times of the year to be in the mix with so many sports going on. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. If you're interested in peer-to-peer sports betting, where you can make your favorite bets and only pay 1% juice while playing against real people, click the link in the description to check out betopenly.com, the best peer-to-peer betting site on the web. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day, guys. We've got the Green Bay Packers going on the road to take on the Chicago Bears. Packers come into this game, guys, fresh off a tough loss there against the Detroit Lions. Also, they are coming off their bye week, guys, so we've got to give them some credit there. Obviously, plenty of time to rest and recover before this game. The Packers in that loss against the Lions, losing to the Lions by 10, not a lot of shame in that, guys. It is tough to play against the Detroit Lions this season. We saw Jordan Love have a bit of a rough game, 23 of 39, 273 yards, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns. He was also sacked 0 times, so we'll give him some credit there, but it was not a great day there by Jordan Love's standards. In terms of the running game there for the Packers, Josh Jacobs had a big game. No shame there. 95 yards on 13 carries, but just not quite enough to get over the top. Emmanuel Wilson did vulture that touchdown. He had 4 rushes for 28 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Reed led the Packers in receiving yards there. He caught 5 out of his 6 targets for 113 yards. So yeah, not too bad there on offense for the Packers, but only putting up 14 points, that's not going to get the job done against very many teams, and it certainly didn't get the job done against the Lions, who won that game 24-14. The Green Bay defense did a pretty good job holding Goff to only 145 yards and 1 touchdown. They tried to limit the running game there, but didn't do a great job against the Detroit running game, and that Detroit pass blocking is pretty lethal. So definitely room for improvement here for the Packers defense, which hasn't been terrible this season by any stretch. They're 11th in the NFL, allowing 21.6 points per game. Not necessarily an elite number, but definitely not a defense that I think is, terrible or anything like that. In terms of their injury report, the offense comes in this game looking very, very good. Offensive line looking good. The receiving group, obviously not, like a premier level receiving group, but not terrible. Definitely, some options out there for Jordan Love. Josh Jacobs coming into this game healthy is also a big deal. On defense there, we still got a couple guys questionable, but overall, I think the defense is going to be in pretty good shape for this game. I'm expecting them to be very close to full strength, if not at full strength here, as they go on the road to take on the Chicago Bears here in this NFC North showdown. The Bears are only 4-5 on the season. They've now lost 3 straight games after that, just nightmare loss against the Washington Commanders, where they lost to that Hail Mary. Things have been pointed in the wrong direction for the Bears ever since they got blown out there by Arizona, and then they lost last week 19-3 against the New England Patriots. Not a lot of good signs there. Caleb Williams looked terrible. He was sacked 9 times in the game. Guys, you cannot get sacked 9 times. I don't care if you're a rookie quarterback. I don't care if your offensive line sucks. You got to figure out a way to get the ball out of your hands, and he could not do that. DeAndre Swift looked okay in the running game, but not amazing. And obviously, you're not going to see any wide receivers having a big game when your quarterback spends most of the game on his back. On defense, the Bears didn't look amazing. They only gave up 19 points, so that's fine. But yeah, they picked Drake May off once, gave up almost 200 passing yards to him, and had no answers there for the running game of the New England Patriots, which is obviously a concern when you're about to go up against a Packers team that would be more than happy to run the ball quite a bit. So we'll see if the Bears defense can bounce back here a little bit. Over the course of the season, they've shown very good numbers defensively, but yeah, it seems like a bit of a big ask to me for this defense to suddenly be amazing. In terms of the injury report, the Bears theoretically are looking looking healthy out there. Montez Sweat going to probably be out for this game. We'll see what happens there, but generally speaking, the offensive line hasn't been at full strength kind of all season long. They've dealt with quite a few injuries, and while they, technically have a healthy starting offensive line right now, that's not really the case if you look a little bit deeper. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Bears getting 5.5 points playing at home. We've got an over-under of 40.5. Green Bay 4-5 against the spread this season, 4-1 to the over-under. Chicago, they are 4-1 against the spread this year. They are 6-3 this season to the under. Guys, the public is pretty big here on the Packers, who are coming off of their bye week. I'm going to go with the public here. Not something I love to do, but in this spot, it definitely makes sense to me. They're under a touchdown. All the trends here point to Green Bay. Jordan Love, always good against the Bears. And road favorites coming off a bye are 70+% against the spread when they are 5.5-point favorites or better this season. So definitely go ahead and give me the Packers here at -5.5. Definitely has a good chance to end up in the pinned comment. In terms of that over-under of 40.5, that is not a very big number, but I don't really trust the Bears offense to put up many points. So maybe a slight lean towards the under, but not an over-under spot that holds a lot of interest for me. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going on the road here to take on the Detroit Lions. The Jaguars come into this game 2-8 on the season, having quite the nightmare year, guys. They just lost 12-7 last week against the Minnesota Vikings in a game the Vikings seemed like they were trying to lose. Overall, not a very fun day if you're a Jaguars fan, guys. Losing 7-12 is pretty rough. Mac Jones got the start there at quarterback. He got picked off twice, threw 0 touchdown passes, sacked 3 times in the game. Just not a very good day out there for Mac Jones. Shocker of the year. The running game didn't really get going either, and yeah, nobody had a particularly good day just in general on offense. Mac Jones accounting for 3 turnovers. Kind of your classic Mac Jones game. On defense, some credit goes to the Jaguars here for sure, but a lot of the blame just goes on Sam Darnold for throwing the ball to the wrong team. But Jacksonville did have 3 interceptions in the game. They struggled against the Minnesota running game, though. They gave 169 rushing yards on 43 carries. So that's not going to work out great in the long run if you are a Jacksonville Jaguars fan or a Jacksonville Jaguars coach or anybody in favor of the Jaguars doing anything positive over the rest of the season, which honestly at this point I think they're more incentivized to be losing games than to be winning them. Over the course of the season, terrible defensively, not very good offensively. Looking at their injury report, Trevor Lawrence going to be out for this game, so we're either going to see CJ Beathard or we're going to see Mac Jones under center. It doesn't really matter which one to me, honestly, guys. They are both quite bad. In terms of the general health of the offense, though, besides Trevor Lawrence being out, it looks like things are pretty good. We've got one offensive lineman that's questionable, but I think there's some chance we do see Ezra Cleveland play in this game. On defense, they're healthy, but not very good, and they're facing a pretty tough test here, taking on the Detroit Lions, who are 8-1 on the season, coming off of I would say probably their worst game of the year. Like, to me, that game felt worse than their loss early on against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week, losing at the Houston Texans 26, or winning at the Houston Texans. That's how bad it felt, guys. It felt so much like a loss that I am borderline saying loss. They did win that game 26-23. Goff threw 5 interceptions. He was sacked 0 times, only completed half of his passes. He did throw 2 touchdown passes as well, but could not keep from throwing it to the wrong team. So he was the reason they almost lost this game. The running game was really, really nice, though. Gibbs and Montgomery combining to just look awesome, as they always do. So good stuff there. Definitely hoping for a little bit better. We do see Sam Laporta going to be missing this game there for the Lions, but, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got Jameson Williams. They've got, pass-catching options. So I'm not too worried about that. On defense, they had a pretty good game, guys, holding down C.J. Stroud, picking him off twice and sacking him 4 times. They looked great against the running attack. Joe Mixon only had 46 yards on 25 carries and 1 rushing touchdown there. So yeah, a very good day for the Lions defense, which continues to be very, very good. They're 8th in the NFL, giving up 19 points per game. In terms of the injury report here for the Lions, guys, they're relatively healthy. Like I said, Sam Laporta going to be out for this game, but other than that, healthy there on offense. And obviously they're missing some guys for the season, like Aiden Hutchinson and stuff like that. But this is a relatively healthy Lions defense coming into this game. So looking at the numbers, we got the Lions -13.5. We got an over/under of 47. Jacksonville 6-4 against the spread this season, 6-4 to the over. Detroit 7-2 against the spread and 5-4 to the under. Guys, with a total here of only 47, I think we're going to be leaning just a little bit here towards the under. I don't know what kind of scoring we're going to see from either team in this game. I would assume good things probably for Detroit, and you never know what you're going to get from the Jaguars, but 47, not a huge number. I don't know if this is a game that's going to end up in the pinned comment, but I am leaning just a little bit towards that under. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, UFC, and NCAA basketball. It's been one of our most profitable sports over the years. We make things extremely easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new. And also, if you want to experience peer-to-peer sports betting while paying almost zero juice, click the link in the description and sign up at betopenly.com. The best peer-to-peer betting site out there. Now, guys, back to the games. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Minnesota Vikings. They're going on the road this week to take on the Tennessee Titans. The Vikings come into this game fresh off of that extremely ugly win there over a pretty bad Jacksonville team like we just discussed. In that road win, guys, a 12-7 win. We saw Sam Darnold look terrible. He wasn't as bad as Goff was, but he was pretty freaking bad. 3 interceptions, no passing touchdowns. He did complete 24 of 38 passes, but not a good week. It was the Cam Akers, Aaron Jones backfield that got them the win in this game. 169 rushing yards on 43 attempts. Very good stuff there. They had a really hard time, obviously, getting into the end zone. We finally saw Justin Jefferson have a bad game, guys. 5 receptions there on 9 targets for only 48 yards. But yeah, just a pretty bad game out there for the Vikings offense in general. Definitely one they're going to want to throw away and not think about anymore, hoping they can, not ever repeat that ever again in their lives. On defense, giving up only 7 points is obviously great. And over the course of the season, this Vikings defense has been pretty nice, only allowing 17.4 points per game. They are definitely a blitz-happy kind of defense, which hasn't been a problem, guys. They've been putting in work, even against some, pretty decent teams out there. They've had good days. They haven't gotten any, super premier wins. I guess that early season win over the San Francisco 49ers is nice, but not a team that's put up a lot of premier wins. So not really going to get a chance to put up a premier win in this game as they go on the road to take on the Tennessee Titans, who come into this game 2-7 on the season, guys. The Titans having one of those nightmare seasons. They just lost 27-17 at the Chargers last week, which, we were on the Chargers, so thank you, Titans, for losing that game, but things looked pretty freaking rough out there for the Titans in that loss, guys. We saw a pretty, honestly, a pretty good game there for Will Levis by his standards. He completed 18 of 23 passes, 0 interceptions, which is insane, but he was sacked 7 times in the game. So still holding on to the ball too long. Still not a great offensive line out there blocking for him. Spears and Pollard both did a pretty good job there in the running game. Levis even chipped in 41 yards on the ground as well, but none of that was enough as they ended up losing that game by 10 points. Calvin Ridley continues to put up nice numbers. He is an intriguing fantasy option, guys. So yeah, keep an eye on that, but gonna have to keep an eye here on Will Levis coming off of a good-ish week. Is he going to be able to back that up with another good week? Seems a little bit sketchy to me, guys, but we'll see what he can do out there in terms of their health, guys. The Titans come into this one. They're going to be missing at least one starting offensive lineman. On defense, Snead is going to be out there, so that's a tough look. Not going to be at full strength here. You kind of probably want Snead out there. As many bodies as you can throw at Justin Jefferson, you're going to want to have the option. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Titans are getting 6 points here at home. We've got an over-under of only 39.5. Minnesota, they are 6-3 against the spread, 6-3 to the under. Tennessee 1-8 against the spread, and 5-3-1 to the over this season. Guys, Sam Darnold has been terrible out there since week 4. The Minnesota defense, though, is very good. Tennessee lost last week because of giving up 7 sacks. Will Levis, not great, guys. He is terrible against the blitz this season, and Minnesota brings insane pressure all the time, and this is a big bounce back spot for the Minnesota offense. Will Levis, guys, is 1-8 against the spread as a starter on normal prep time. I am going to be siding here with the Vikings to get the win and cover at anything under a touchdown. I think this is very good value here on the Vikings. -7. I think Darnold's got to have some sort of a bounce back day. I think the Titans defense is drastically overrated. I think this is a good spot to take the Vikings. And in terms of that over under of 39.5, that would require a pretty low scoring game. I would lean just a little bit here towards that over. Moving right along here, guys, we are looking at the Las Vegas Raiders. They're going on the road to take on the Miami Dolphins. The Raiders come into this game 2-7 on the year, fresh off a 41-24 loss there against Cincinnati Bengals. They're coming off their bye week, so, not fresh off of that loss, but still, that was not an amazing look there for the Raiders, guys. not able to keep things close, albeit against a pretty talented offensive unit. We saw Gardner Minshew and Desmond Ridder both getting reps there, and Ridder actually looked maybe better, completing 11 of 16 for 74 yards and a touchdown, but he was sacked 4 times and didn't do anything transcendent with his legs. So yeah, it doesn't really matter who the Raiders start at quarterback at this point, guys. I mean, Gardner Minshew's still currently being listed as their starter, so we'll see if that happens, but yeah, things have looked pretty bleak for them at quarterback this season. No major shocker there. In terms of the running game, they couldn't get anything going against the Bengals defense, which is a great look. Obviously, the Bengals not the best defensive team. And yeah, in the passing game, I mean, Jacoby Myers had a big day, 8 receptions on 11 targets for 105 yards, but is he going to be able to repeat that? We'll see. I don't think it's impossible here. It's not like this is the toughest Miami defense in the world. So like I said, we'll see what the Raiders can do. Obviously, on defense themselves against the Bengals, they got completely shredded. Couldn't stop Chase Brown in the running game. Really couldn't stop Joe Burrow, who passed for 5 touchdowns in the win. And yeah, it wasn't even the full strength Bengals receiver group, guys. So yeah, not a great look there from the Raiders defense, who hasn't been very good this season. Coming into this game, it looks like the Raiders are going to be missing at least 2 guys there on the offensive line. So that's a bit tough. Missing your center and your left guard, not going to make things easier for whoever they end up putting under center. And on defense, they're going to be missing Nate Hobbs there. So yeah, not a full strength Raiders team coming into this game, even coming off of their bye week. So they're going to have to find something here as they go on the road to take on the Dolphins, who are 3-6 on the season. They're coming off of a 23-15 win and a pretty weird game there against the Rams. At 3-6 on the season, obviously they have a ton of work to do, but I don't think this Dolphins team considers themselves out of the mix here. In that win they had against the Rams, a must-win game. Tua looked pedestrian. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked 3 times, but hey, no traumatic brain injuries. I would say any game that he gets through without making some sort of terrifying, concussion-like inducing fall is a great thing for him and for the, just humanity in general, because that has been a rough look watching him take all of those crazy hits. In terms of the running game, A-Chain did not get going last week. Definitely, expecting something of a bounce back from him here, but weird to see him have a kind of a bad week. Waddle and Tyreek Hill have to be getting tired of this. I mean, Tyreek did have a touchdown catch, but caught 3 of 4 targets for 16 yards. Yeah, Waddle and Tyreek Hill owners in fantasy football have to be in shambles at this point. So yeah, overall, didn't hate what we saw from their offense. On defense, they did give up a lot of passing yards, but had 4 sacks and an interception there against Goff. They did a good job of stopping the running game of the Rams, which has been very potent. They did struggle a bit against Nakua and Cup, but everybody is going to struggle in those situations. So looking at the Dolphins injury report, they're a little bit banged up there on the offensive line as well, but they've got guys marked as questionable instead of out. So I think there's a good chance they end up closer to full strength than to missing 2 guys. On defense, they're relatively healthy, but they are going to be missing 1 cornerback out there. Kendall Fuller marked out for this game. Looking at the numbers for this one, guys, you see the Raiders are getting 7.5 points here. We've got an over-under of 44. The Raiders are 4-5 against the spread. They are 6-3 to the over. Miami 3-6 against the spread and 6-3 to the under. Guys, the pros are pretty heavy here on the Raiders. It's kind of a pros Joe's spot. The pro money is mostly on the Raiders. The Joe money is mostly on the Dolphins here at -7.5. Kind of felt like Miami got lucky to me to win that game against the Rams, and just getting a pretty bad game from Stafford there. Maybe some of that was induced by Miami, but overall, guys, I don't love this game necessarily, but I'm going to be leaning towards taking the Raiders and the points as a very small play. Like I said, this isn't a spot I love. This Raiders team is obviously not very good, but the Dolphins haven't been looking great either, and I wouldn't say they're at super duper tip top shape for this game as well. So definitely give me a little bit of a look at the Raiders there at +7.5. In terms of that over-under, obviously we've got very mixed trends between these two teams. I'm going to be leaning just a little bit towards the under there, kind of piggybacking off of that play of taking the Raiders and the points, but neither one of those plays is going anywhere near the pinned comment for me. Moving right along here, guys, we are looking at the LA Rams. They're going on the road to take on the New England Patriots. The Rams come into this game fresh off of that tough loss there against Miami, where they lost 23-15, like we were just talking about, at 4-5 on the season. They've got a lot of work to do, but they are not out of the mix yet. Stafford had another mediocre game, 1 interception, 4 sacks, passed for just slightly less than 300 yards. Kyron Williams got slowed down a little bit. I expect to see him, really get back to work in this game. Very good receiving day and very good receiving core there for the Rams. Obviously, they're going to scare any opponent. So we'll see what Nakua and Kupp can do out there. Both of them coming into this game healthy is obviously a very big deal. On defense, the Rams didn't do great against the Dolphins, but they limited both the passing and running game significantly. And over the course of this season, guys, the Rams haven't been, they haven't been a transcendently good defense, but they've had their moments this year, and they've done well against some decent teams. So I'm not really ready to throw them a parade or anything like that, but I do think this Rams defense is being slightly undervalued. In terms of their injury report, guys, the Rams going to be missing at least one starting offensive lineman there, and Byron Young and Josh Wallace both listed as questionable there on the defense. So yeah, not likely to be a full strength Rams team, but I would say overall their health is trending in a positive direction for this game, and they're going to need it going up against a New England Patriots team that's coming off a blowout win there against Chicago Bears. Suddenly we see the Patriots have won 2 out of the last 3 wins over the Jets and the Bears. I'm not exactly going to throw them a parade, guys, but this is not quite as bad of a New England's Patriots team as we have seen at other points this season. In that blowout win there at Chicago, which makes it even a little bit more impressive, we saw Drake May come up with some positive things, some negative things. It's kind of what you expect from a rookie quarterback, guys. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 184 passing yards, completed more than half his passes, was only sacked once. He did also run for 24 yards, so some positives there. We saw the New England running game look very much on line with Ramondre Stevenson taking back over as the lead back. 74 yards on 20 carries for him. Not a ton of crazy wide receiver numbers. Obviously, New England did a good job holding onto the ball. Their defense really killed it out there, racking up 9 sacks against a terrible Bears, offensive line that was very banged up. And Caleb Williams, you just got to get the ball out of there, bud. You just got to get the ball out of there. So we'll see if they can replicate that performance here. The Patriots come into this game very healthy. They're looking almost fully healthy there on offense. On defense, it's kind of another story, guys. A lot of questionable designations and some, definitely some guys likely to be missing there from the secondary. So unless they're fully healthy for this game, it could be a little bit tough out there. Looking at the over-under for this game, guys, we see it sitting at 43.5. The Rams this season are 3-6 against the spread. They're 5-4 to the under. New England 5-4-1 against the spread, and they are a 5-5 over-under team. Guys, I'm going to be leaning a bit here towards the under. I don't think we're going to see a crazy amount of offense in this game. Neither team has really been playing their A game offensively. New England's going to want to turn this into as low scoring of a game as possible. The Rams are also going to want to establish the running game in this one, so definitely give me a little look here towards the under, but I don't think that's a play that's likely to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the Cleveland Browns. They're going on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints. The Browns come into this game 2-7 on the year, fresh off of a not so hot performance there against the Chargers, where they lost 27-10. So yeah, they've had some time to think about that one, but it didn't look great out there, guys. Jameis Winston, as the saying goes, turned back into a pumpkin. He threw 3 interceptions in that loss, got sacked 6 times. Only 1 touchdown pass in that game. Nick Chubb came back, but his return did not go the way he would have hoped, guys. 15 carries, only 39 yards. So, yeah, pretty rough stuff. He's going to have to work himself back into shape, guys. I'm not talking crap here on Nick Chubb. I think he's a monster, but it's a big ask for a guy to come back from injury and just have an amazing, amazing performance right out of the gate. I think we'll see him back to normal next season. I don't know if we're going to see prime level Nick Chubb this year. So we'll see how that goes. Tillman had a good day catching the ball, but the Browns not a loaded wide receiver group by any stretch of the imagination. And with Jameis Winston out there slinging it, you're going to need some talented guys that can go up there and get it. In terms of their defense, giving up 27 points against the Chargers, giving up almost 300 passing yards to Justin Herbert. That's a bit of a tough look. They couldn't stop the Chargers running game either. And over the course of the season, guys, the Browns defense has not been like what we saw last year, giving up 23.7 points per game and even having rough games when playing at home. So we'll see what they can do here. I mean, their injury report looks not terrible at all. I would say, they're going to be missing some guys from their starting defense, from the beginning of the year. But as of right now, the Browns not that banged up, I guess, but they're going to need everything they've got here taking on the Saints, who are now 3-7 coming into this game fresh off of that 20-17 win against Atlanta. That was one of our favorite picks last week. That was a pinned comment pick, and thank you to the Saints. It came through for us. In that win against Atlanta, guys, we saw some positive things, no doubt about it, but it was a little bit of a struggle. I mean, only a 3-point win there, but Derek Carr had a nice day, sacked 0 times, 2 touchdowns, 269 yards, so very good there. Kamara combined for right around 100 yards from scrimmage, only 55 on 17 carries, but he chipped in 54 receiving yards as well. Marquez Valdez-Scantling had a big day catching the ball. He caught 3 balls there for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he's going to need to step up here as he, is basically their de facto number 1 wide receiver option. In terms of their defense, guys, they did a good job of keeping Kirk Cousins from throwing a touchdown pass, but they struggled a little bit against the Atlanta running game, and by a little bit, they have 181 yards on 32 carries and 2 rushing touchdowns. So definitely plenty of room to improve there for the Saints, who only came with that 1 turnover and 3 sacks in the game. The Saints are going to be getting healthy for this game, guys. definitely seeing, positive developments there on the offensive line. We're going to have Eric McCoy back for this game, so having your starting center back makes a big difference. Derek Carr, not somebody you want to see get pressured a lot. That can really mess him up. Cedric Wilson Jr. is questionable for this game, so that would be not ideal if he doesn't play. He's dealing with a shoulder issue. We don't have a ton of clarity, but I do think he is trending towards playing after, being a limited participant in practice there early in the week. So I do think we'll see him probably play in this game. And looking at the numbers for this one, guys, we see this is a pick'em game. You don't see that too often in the NFL, but it's a pick'em game with the Saints playing at home. We've got an over/under of 44 out there. Cleveland only 3-6 against the spread this season, 6-3 to the under. New Orleans 4-6 against the spread and 6-4 to the over. This is a bounce back spot for Cleveland. The Browns defense is top 3 in pressure rate, if no other statistics. The Browns might be healthy, but does that matter that much? They're not a very talented team. Jameis is going to try and do a lot here playing against his old team in the Saints. I think that is a bad thing, guys. I think he's going to be just flinging it out there. And the Saints offensive line getting healthy is a big deal. Go ahead and give me the Saints here at home. We just need them to straight up win this game. I think they do that the vast majority of the time against a Cleveland Browns team that does not fill me with much optimism. So definitely give me the Saints in this one. That one's going in the pinned comment. We got an over/under here of 44. I'm going to lean definitely towards the over in this game. I think we'll see plenty of offense out there, but my favorite play in this one definitely going to be to take the Saints as opposed to taking that over. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Indianapolis Colts. They're going on the road here to take on the New York Jets. The Colts come into this game fresh off of a tough 30-20 loss there against the Buffalo Bills. They kept that game relatively close, and I think they would have had their chances to cover in that one, but we saw Joe Flacco have a terrible day, getting picked off 3 times and sacked 4 times. He did have a couple of touchdown passes out there, but he was really slinging it, and it was not necessarily working out. I mean, Jonathan Taylor had a big game, 21 carries for 114 yards, no touchdowns, but he did have a 58-yard carry. So yeah, very good stuff from Jonathan Taylor. I'm expecting a big day from him. The real news here for the Colts offense obviously is going to be the return of Anthony Richardson to the starting role and Flacco going back to being the second string quarterback. I'm pretty happy, I think, with this move overall. I do think it induces just a little bit more variance, but with the way Flacco is throwing the ball all over the place, there was already plenty of variance going on for that Colts team. The real strength of this squad, guys, is their rushing offense. Their pass blocking is very, very good, and I honestly think we could see Anthony Richardson, taking off, using his legs a little bit just as much as he's going to want to use his arms. So I'm expecting good things from the Colts offense in general in this game. Obviously, their defense, a little bit of a work in progress, but last week they did a lot of very, very good things against a pretty solid Bills offense, guys. They picked off Josh Allen twice, sacked him twice. They didn't do a great job against the running attack, but they held most of the wide receivers down, and just, a pretty decent day out there. Definitely a game that was within grasp there for the Colts. So in terms of their injury report, they're looking relatively healthy. One starting offensive lineman going to be out. Their left tackle looking like he's going to be out, but we could see a full strength Colts defense for that game, which would be pretty nice as they go on the road to take on the Jets, who are 3-7 on the season. They're coming off a blowout loss there at the hands of the Arizona Cardinals. They lost that game 31-6. Aaron Rodgers getting asked about retirement, saying he's probably going to play one more year, blah, 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 blah. This team sucks. Aaron Rodgers has been bad this season. He only passed for 151 yards, was sacked 3 times, no touchdowns, no interceptions last week. We didn't see anything amazing from the running game there from the Jets. We didn't see anything great from, Devontae Adams in that game. Like, Garrett Wilson didn't look great. Like, this is not a very good team. Guys are looking old out there, and they're just not looking very good. And the defense is looking terrible compared to last season. They gave up 31 points against the Cardinals. Couldn't stop Kyler Murray in the passing game. Couldn't stop the running game, which is a huge concern here going up against the Colts. I am just not very high here on this Jets team at all. They come into this game a little bit banged up, going to be missing at least one starting lineman. Devontae Adams is questionable for this game. Not sure how much that even really matters right now. And they're going to be missing their middle linebacker in CJ Mosley. So not a full strength Jets team. And look at the numbers, guys. We see the Colts are getting 4 points in this game. We got an over under here of 43.5. The Colts are 7-3 against the spread this year, so a very good against the spread team. The Jets 3-7 against the spread, 5-4-1 to the under. The Colts are 6-4 to the under. Guys, the Jets look so bad losing to the Cardinals. The coaching situation is terrible for them right now, and Rodgers is 25th in the NFL in QBR. The Jets' run defense is also very, very bad. Guys, give me the Colts and the points here playing on the road. This is probably one of my favorite plays of the week that's going to go in the pinned comment. I think they're going to keep this game very, very close and probably have a chance to win it at the end against a Jets team that is just terrible. As long as Anthony Richardson doesn't get picked off 3 times, I think the Colts should be in very good shape. In terms of that over-under, I'm leaning towards the under here a little bit with both teams showing trends in that direction, but definitely a spot where I'm much more interested in the Colts and the points. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the Baltimore Ravens. They're going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers in an AFC North showdown. The Ravens come into this game 7-3 on the season, so having a pretty good time out there. They got a crazy 35-34 win there against the Bengals last week, but my God, was that an insane game. I don't even know if I can say the Ravens deserve to win that one. Their defense looks real bad. Lamar Jackson looks real good, though, guys. 4 passing touchdowns, 290 yards through the air. We also saw him run for 33 yards, so that was not bad, and Derrick Henry may be slowing down just a hair, but he did have 68 yards there on 16 carries and a rushing touchdown. So not a lot of negative things for me to say about this offense. This Ravens offense continues to just be amazing. But as many good things as there are to say about that Ravens offense, guys, there's almost equally as many bad things to say about this defense. They get 34 points against the Bengals. If it wasn't for a 2-point conversion stop, they probably would have lost this game. And rough stuff out there. Gave up 428 passing yards. And this was to a Bengals team that didn't even have T. Higgins playing. They were not at full strength. So not a great look there for that Ravens defense that over the course of the season has been real bad, guys, giving up 25.3 points per game. In terms of the injury report here for the Ravens, they're fully healthy on offense, so that has to feel great. On defense, they're possibly going to be missing one guy, but other than that, missing one defensive lineman. That is not too bad. A very, very healthy team at this point in the season. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on the Steelers, who are 7-2 on the season. They're coming off of a very narrow 1-point win of their own. They beat the Washington Commanders 28-27 their last time out. So pretty good stuff there from the Steelers. Obviously, that's a nice win. Russell Wilson looked good once again. He was picked off once, but also threw 3 passing touchdowns. Completed only half his passes, so I'm not super sold here on Russell Wilson, but we'll see what he can do. He was sacked 3 times and continues to refuse to run the ball. But Williams, Warren, and Harris combined to rush the ball really well once again. This looked like one of the more dominant running duos in the NFL, guys. They're a very potent mix there. And George Pickens obviously having a great day there, catching 5 of 7 targets last week for 91 yards and a passing touchdown. On defense, they did a good job of containing Jaden Daniels. They did a good job of containing the Washington running attack, only giving up 60 yards on 22 carries. Not bad at all. They did give up 2 rushing touchdowns, so make of that what you will. They had 3 sacks, though, which is pretty nice, and they forced a turnover. So the Steelers defense remains very good this season. In terms of their injury report, they're looking very clean out there on offense. On defense, they are going to be missing a linebacker there in Alex Highsmith, but other than that, they are relatively healthy, given at the point we're at in the season. So guys, looking at the over-under for this game, Baltimore, they are an NFL best 9-1 this season to the over. Pittsburgh is 5-4 to the over. We got an over-under out there of 48.5. I'm going to be leaning towards the over in this game. I think we'll see a good amount of offense out there. Obviously, Baltimore, a terrible defensive team, so that makes me lean even more here towards the over. Getting to 48.5 points, getting to 49, that's a little bit of a big ask, but I think these two teams can definitely make that dream a reality. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the Atlanta Falcons. They're going on the road here to take on the Denver Broncos. Atlanta comes into this game 6-4 on the season, so having a mediocre time out there, especially coming off that 20-17 loss there against the New Orleans Saints. Atlanta is in the top spot there in the NFC South, so they have that to be happy about. But that was not a loss they were looking to take there against the Saints, guys. Cousins, a mediocre day from him. 1 interception, no touchdowns, sacked 3 times. He did crack 300 passing yards, so that's nice, but it was the running game that really had Atlanta in good shape there. I mean, Robinson and Algier killing it, combining for 2 touchdowns and well over 160 yards rushing on 31 carries. Not a bad day by either one of them. Drake London had a big game. Darnell Mooney had a big game. This is a team with offensive weapons. They're supposed to be scoring more than 17 points in most of their games. And you can't complain too much about the defense giving up 20 points, guys. I mean, Derek Carr looked decent out there. They didn't do a good job of applying pressure, but they did a decent job of slowing down Kamara there in the running game and the passing game. He did combine for 99 yards of offense, 109 yards of offense, but still, guys, they kept him out of the end zone. They really had no answer there from Marquez Valdes-Scantling. So, make of that what you will, guys. Over the course of the season, the Falcons' defense hasn't been great, hasn't been a disaster, I guess, but giving up 23.6 points per game doesn't put you among the league leaders, I will tell you guys that. Looking at their injury report, it looks like they're going to be missing their fullback for this game. We're not too worried about that, but we are worried about Mike Hughes and D. Alford being out there in the secondary, so not going to be a full-strength secondary here for the Falcons, which could be a little bit interesting going up against a Denver Broncos team that definitely prefers the running game, I would say. But it's been a weird season for the Broncos. They're now 5-5 on the year, fresh off of a absolute heartbreaker of a loss there against the Chiefs. Yeah, that was rough, guys. That was rough. That was hard to watch, honestly. Yeah, I mean, losing that one 14-16 at Kansas City, like they're supposed to win that game, guys. You get in that position and just doesn't happen. Bo Nix had a very good game, completing 22 of 30 passes for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was sacked a couple of times, but that's not the end of the world. We didn't hate what we saw from the Denver running game, but it wasn't dominant. I mean, 78 yards on 23 carries, not really lighting the world on fire. Nobody went particularly nuts there in the passing game. I guess Cortland Sutton, 6 receptions on 9 targets for 70 yards and a touchdown. Not great, but not terrible by any stretch. So we'll see what they can do out there on offense this week. On defense, giving up only 16 points to the Chiefs and sacking Mahomes 4 times. Not bad. They did a good job of shutting down the Kansas City rushing attack. Did a good job of limiting both Kareem Hunt and Travis Kelce in the passing game there a little bit, but just not quite enough out there as they end up, eventually losing this game on a pretty fluky play. In terms of, their defensive season, it's been very, very good. No doubt about that. They come into this game healthy on offense. Brandon Jones, questionable for this game there at safety. That's a concern for sure. But, with an abdomen injury, it's very, very up in the air what his availability for this game is going to be. So looking at the trends for this game, guys, Atlanta, they are 6-4 to the under. Denver, they are 6-4 to the over. Guys, I think this is definitely a spot you want to be looking at that over. I think we'll see a good amount of offense in this game, getting over 44.5 points. Not that crazy, and playing this game at elevation does make something of a difference, but we're going to see pretty good weather in this game, so I think we'll see enough points to ease us just over that 44.5 mark. Rolling right along here, guys, we are looking at an NFC West showdown. We've got the Seattle Seahawks. They're going on the road here to take on the San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks come into this game fresh off a 26-20 loss there to the Rams. So, yeah, not a great look there. Seattle, only 4-5 on the season. They are currently ranked last there in the NFC West. In that loss they had against the Rams, obviously they've had, their bye week or whatever, but not an amazing look, guys. Geno Smith picked off 3 times and sacked 7 times in the loss. The running game, Kenneth Walker III did have a decent day out there, but not enough to completely, change things up. This game did go into overtime. I don't think it needed to go into overtime, guys. The Rams probably should have been able to hold on to this thing in regulation, but stuff happens. Didn't love what we saw from at all from Geno Smith in this game. We did see a huge day there from Jackson Smith and Jigba. That was a crazy game. 7 receptions, but on 13 targets. Very inefficient, guys. Not an amazing day there from the Seahawks on offense, and on defense things weren't amazing either. Very few answers there for Stafford and company, and yeah, they did generate 1 turnover but 0 sacks. This has not been a good Seattle defense, guys. They are releasing dudes and just things. Kind of feels like the wheels are coming off, honestly, for the Seattle defense. They're 23rd in the NFL, giving up 24.6 points per game. So, yeah, pretty tough look there. They come into this game not fully healthy on offense. Their starting tight end is going to be out for this game. And on defense, they are technically healthy, but there are a lot of moving pieces at this point. And like I said, guys, this defense has been flat out bad. So they're going to have maybe a rough time here going on the road to take on the 49ers, who got the win last week, albeit by a narrow margin, 23-20. They've now won 3 out of their last 4 games, including a 36-24 win at Seattle. So, yeah, the 49ers definitely have their eye on the prize here in the NFC West. They, did some positive things there at Tampa Bay. It wasn't the cleanest game of all time, but we did see Brock Purdy, 2 touchdown passes, 350 yards through the air, and 3 sacks. So, yeah, not that bad. Not that bad. It was the first game back for Christian McCaffrey. 13 carries for 39 yards for him. I'm expecting much more success from him here in the run game, and for him to keep on catching passes, guys. He caught 6 out of 7 targets for 68 yards last week. Juwan Jennings had a big day. Deebo Samuel didn't use him too aggressively as he was dealing with an injury, but yeah, Kittle and Deebo both in for a little bit of a bounce back, although Kittle did catch a touchdown pass, so got to give him some credit there. We did see the ball get fumbled away once, so 1 turnover there for the 49ers, but not a terrible day for them. Probably deserved to score more than the 23 points they did put up, guys. And yeah, I mean, when you see your kicker go 3 of 6 on field goals, that's a pretty tough look. So definitely should have won this game by a much more considerable margin. On defense, they held Baker Mayfield to only 116 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. They did a good job there against the running game of Tampa Bay, and just in general, they looked very, very good out there. And the 49ers, they are still technically a little banged up. We see Deebo Samuel off the injury report. George Kittle is technically dealing with a hamstring issue, but I do think it's very likely that we see him play. He's been banged up here all week. He was limited in practice on Thursday and Friday, but did practice. If he wasn't going to practice, guys, we wouldn't have seen him out there. Like, there's no way you're going to have a guy with a hamstring lightly practice if he's not, likely to end up playing in this game. So I think we'll see Kittle play out there. How effective will be, maybe a little bit concerning. Trent Williams being on the injury report, obviously a big deal. They need him there on the offensive line. He's dealing with an ankle issue. the reports that I'm seeing are indicating that he's more likely to play than to sit this one out. So we'll see how that goes, guys. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the 49ers are 6.5-point favorites. We got an over-under 48 out there. Seattle 2-6-1 against the spread this season, 5-4 to the over. San Francisco 4-5 against the spread and 5-4 to the over. Guys, Geno Smith has not been good this season. Most of his yards come when the game is out of reach. He's tied for the most interceptions in the NFL, and the Seattle defense is flat out terrible. San Francisco going to be a great offense at some point this season. Will this week be the time? I think it will, guys. Give me the 49ers here. I think they win this game comfortably by at least a touchdown. You could also interest me a little bit in the over in this game, but I'm a little bit worried that San Francisco defense is going to come out and dominate. So just go ahead and give me the 49ers in this one, minus 6.5. Next up, guys, we got probably the most highly touted game of the day. We got the Kansas City Chiefs going on the road here to take on the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs come into this game fresh off of that miracle 16-14 win last week thanks to that botched field goal. Crazy stuff there. The magic just keeps on going here for the 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs. In that game, we didn't see Mahomes look particularly great. I mean, 266 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown. He was sacked 4 times. The offense in general didn't look that amazing. Kareem Hunt only 14 carries for 35 yards. That's not what this team wants to be doing. But yeah, Hunt also caught 7 out of 10 passes. Travis Kelce, 8 out of 12 for 64 yards and a touchdown. Like, the Chiefs just keep on finding a way to put up just enough points to win these games. And looking at what the defense was able to do, much more impressive, giving up only 14 points. And over the course of the season, guys, the Chiefs defense has been excellent. They're currently 5th in the NFL, giving up 17.9 points per game. So yeah, very good stuff there. In terms of the injury report here for the Chiefs, they're looking very healthy there on offense, which is obviously a huge deal. Obviously, they don't have, all the wide receivers they plan to have at this point in the season when they started the year, but still looking pretty good. And on defense, similar good things to report, guys. This is a healthy Kansas City Chiefs team at this point in the season. That is very scary. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills, who are 8-2 on the year. They're coming off that 30-20 win there at the Colts. Pretty sloppy win, though, to be honest, guys. Didn't like really what we saw from Josh Allen. He threw 2 interceptions, no touchdown passes. He did run for a touchdown and 50 yards, but I don't know how much he's going to be wanting to run the ball against the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see how that goes. James Cook did have a good day running the ball. We saw Mac Hollins have a good day there. Caught all 4 of his targets for 86 yards, but yeah, barely winning by 10 points against the Colts, who had Flacco throwing 3 interceptions. Not a great look. The Bills' defense struggled a little bit out there, and over the course of the season, I mean, how high are we really on this Bills defense? They're sitting somewhere around a top 10, giving up 19.3 points per game, but this team hasn't played a particularly tough schedule. And like against Baltimore, they gave up 35 points. Against Arizona in week 1, they gave up 28. Against Seattle, they gave up only 10, but that's Seattle. The last couple weeks, giving up 27 to Miami and 20 to the Colts. I don't know, guys. Not in love with this defense, and the Bills are very banged up in this game. Amari Cooper questionable, Keon Coleman out, Dalton Kincaid out, Spencer Brown at right tackle. He is questionable for this game. On defense, they're technically healthy, but once again, guys, this is not a defense that I love. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Bills are minus 2.5. We got an over-under of 46 out there. Kansas City 5-4 against the spread, 5-4 to the under. Buffalo 6-4 against the spread, and 6-4 to the over. Guys, taking Mahomes as an underdog, never a bad thing. This KC run defense is among the league leaders. I know the public here is all over Kansas City, but I think the public is on the right side here. The Bills have not been good at all against good teams this season. I like the Chiefs here getting 2.5 points. I think anytime you're getting points with Mahomes, you might as well jump on it, because this guy might not win by a lot, but he always finds a way to win. And I think the Chiefs continue their unbeaten streak here against the Buffalo Bills, especially since the Bills here are dealing with quite a few injury concerns. And in terms of that over-under of 46, I don't care about that in this game, guys. This is a spot here to slam it on the Kansas City Chiefs, which just so happens, guys, that is a premium pick over at Stump the Spread. So go ahead and jump on that one. Throwing you guys a premium pick for free here in the videos. That's just what we do, trying to help you out. Let's cash a bet here together. Last but not least, guys, we are looking at the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going on the road to take on the LA Chargers here on Sunday Night Football. The Bengals come into this game 4-6 on the season, fresh off of that tough 1-point loss there against the Ravens, guys. Pretty tough stuff. That game really could have went either way. We saw another great game there from Joe Burrow. He continues to absolutely kill out there, doing everything he can to drag this team to success. He had 4 touchdown passes, 428 yards, 3 times he got sacked in the game, and he did all of that without T. Higgins on the field. We saw Chase Brown look decent in the running game, 13 carries, 42 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Jamar Chase, a crazy day, guys. He caught 11 of his 17 targets for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. a lot of that came after the catch. He was absolutely untackleable out there for obviously the terrible Ravens defense, but still got to give the dude credit. Chase Brown did fumble it away once. That was a pretty big deal. Just, not quite enough. They had to complete that 2-point conversion. Couldn't quite make it happen. So rough stuff there for the Bengals. I mean, on defense, they also couldn't stop Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry. So yeah, not a lot of teams can do that. But over the course of the season, the Bengals defense has been very bad, guys, giving up 26.2 points per game. That puts them 26th in the National Football League. In terms of their injury report, they're fairly healthy. We do see T. Higgins is going to play in this game. Their left tackle is questionable, so we'll see if he plays, but I think he's trending towards probably playing. BJ Hill is questionable, and Trey Hendrickson is questionable there on the defensive line. So, yeah, I don't know how much that changes things for the Bengals, who have a pretty bad defensive line here to start with. So, we'll see what they can do going up against a Chargers team that is kind of surprisingly 6-3 on the season. But when you look back at their wins and look back at their schedule, you're not going to be too shocked to see they were putting up some wins, guys. I mean, last week they did win against the Tennessee Titans 27-17. So, thank you, Chargers. We were on the Chargers there, but man, I guess it was a dominant performance, kind of. I mean, Herbert looked good, 164 passing yards, but completed 14 of 18 passes, 1 touchdown, sacked 0 times. Edwards and Dobbins combined for over 100 yards rushing there on 25 carries. As a team, the Chargers had 145 yards on the ground and 2 rushing touchdowns. This is a team that wants to run the ball. That's pretty much all they want to do. Sometimes they use the run to set up the pass, but that's only if they're kind of forced into it, which here against a team like the Bengals, I think there's a decent chance they could be forced into that. On defense, looking good against a Titans team, I guess. They gave up 17 points, so that's not bad, but we saw Will Levis look pretty good out there, despite getting sacked 7 times, passed for 2 touchdowns and 175 yards, and Tajee Spears and Tony Pollard both had success there running the ball, and so did Will Levis. So we'll see how that goes, guys. The Chargers are supposed to be a great defensive team. They are healthy coming into this game, although Khalil Mack might be out. He's questionable right now on defense with a groin issue. He did not practice on Friday, so that is not boding well for his availability. Groin stuff can be pretty sketchy. So I think there's a very real chance that Mack ends up sitting out this game, which is not going to help this defense. But looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Chargers are 1.5-point favorites. We got an over-under of 47.5. Cincinnati 6-4 against the spread, 7-3 to the over. The Chargers are 6-3 against the spread and 7-2 to the under. The Bengals just shut down the Ravens' running attack. Can they do that against the Chargers? T. Higgins is back for this game. Joe Burrow can struggle against pressure, but will he get pressured in this game? We'll have to wait and see. What is the Chargers' best win of the season? I couldn't find any that were very good. The coaching edge definitely goes towards the Chargers, but the talent points me here towards Cincinnati. The Chargers don't have a real home field advantage either. Give me the Bengals here getting 1.5 points. I think we see Joe Burrow thrive here in, another big time prime time game. So give me the Bengals in this game. And in terms of that over under 47.5, I'm only just a hair towards the over, but definitely a spot here that I love the Cincinnati Bengals. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.